Hello, everybody, and welcome to kickoff week for the UFL. Week one has arrived, and with that comes power rankings for the season. So before diving into it, I want to quickly say if you are new, subscribe, greatly appreciated. Leave a like and comment down below your own rankings. So now let's get right into it. We kick things off with the Memphis Showboats. They didn't gain or lose anything from last year. Case Cookis is gone, but he didn't really live up to your expectations last year. And Troy Williams is back to compete for the QB1 job. When they had their limited success last season, it was through a ground focused, smash mouth style of football. But they do lose two key running backs from that style in the offseason. And head coach Ken Weisenhurst is going to be stepping down due to personal reasons, and Jim Turner is set to be the interim. And it's right before the season. They lose their head coach and have to go in with an interim. It really sucks. I'm curious to see how this is going to impact the Memphis locker room. It was a team with not a lot of expectations going into this season, and it's going to be an uphill battle for them in most of their games. So this should be an interesting one. They come in at number 8 to kick off this season with a long way to go if they're going to move up the rankings. Number 7 is the Houston Roughnecks. They find themselves with a new starting quarterback and a roster that looks to expand on what they were able to succeed with last year. The key thing is with Kurt Merritt being back from injury, and that's one of the biggest pieces that they're going to have returning. Nolan Henderson gets his shot behind center to be the starter with this team, and it's a defense that's looking to improve against the pass. They bring in Damon Arnett to see what he can do. He gets his second chance to play professional football after having off the field issues during his time with the Raiders. And this is the point of the UFL, to give these guys a second chance. Arnett was a former first round pick. He has the talent. Can he prove that he has the talent after a few years away from football? We shall see. Houston as a whole was a very streaky team last year. Again, had very limited success. Can they have more consistency this year? We shall see. I'm not a massive fan of the quarterback room, but that's only just a minute part of my issues with this team. Nonetheless, they come in at number 7. Number 6 is the DC Defenders. They had a shakeup right before the season started, with Reggie Barlow stepping down as the head coach to take the Tennessee State head coaching job. So in comes Shannon Harris to be the interim head coach, and it's a team that underperformed last year, in parts due to Jordan Teamu's play. He's going to be someone I'm keeping an eye on this year at the quarterback position, trying to improve on what he did last year. Going to be the key piece if this DC team is going to get back to those expectations that they had. They have a good home field environment there in Audi Field, and if they're playing at a high level with a defense that's also at a high level, they're a good, really tough team to beat. I'm just not too sure about Jordan Teamu just yet. But again, it's a defense that played well, and they made some improvements to it. So we'll see if they're going to be able to live up to those expectations that they have this year and be able to play in a style that makes that crowd happy. Number 5 is the Arlington Renegades. Luis Perez is back to lead the Renegades this season after a disappointing attempt to defend the XFL championship. But the offense does keep a lot of key pieces that they had last year, and they were able to put up fights in a lot of their games last year. The key thing with Arlington that they need to change is being able to close out one-score games. Weren't able to last year. Can they do it this year? We shall see. They added some much needed depth on the defense as well, and they're a team that once again does not go down without a fight. They're able to play in close games. The issue is, can they close out those close games? We shall see, but again, Arlington does have a really solid roster. They're a good team that could definitely shock some people and sneak their way into the playoffs this year and compete for that XFL Conference Championship. So I do have the Renegades coming in at number 5. Number 4 is the Michigan Panthers. The Panthers have a tough road ahead of them, with the key piece they need to replace being their kicker from last year. Jake Bates stole a lot of games from them last year. They bring in BT Potter to try and replace him. The offense also keeps some key pieces, and they do away with former starting quarterback EJ Perry, and they bring in Rocky Lombardi as a rookie and have Danny Edling as well. It's a different team from last year, but again, the core is in place. And the hope is that a new secondary department can add into that effort that the front seven was able to provide last year. This is a very solid team. They were in the USFL Conference Championship last year. They were playing in very close games, putting up some great efforts and some great fights. They just need more consistency at the quarterback position, as the mixture of EJ Perry and Danny Edling was not great last year. So the hope is that they're able to find more consistency and be able to close out and win some more games. So I do have the Michigan Panthers at number 4. Number 3 is the San Antonio Brahmas. They were the UFL runners up last year, and they made some changes after getting shut out in the championship game. And the biggest changes of them all was Chase Garbers and Quinton Dormady being let to walk, and they bring in Kellen Mond as the new starting quarterback, as it was announced the other day. And it is a very interesting move. But Kellen Mond is going to have a lot of help in this with this team, as they bring back a majority of the running backs that they had last year, bring back a majority of their pass catchers and their playmakers that they had last year. So San Antonio is really looking to repeat as XFL conference champs and get back to UFL championship game. Their defense was one of the best defenses in the league last year, and they keep a lot of key pieces, especially to that front seven, and they add on to it as well in the offseason. A really, really good looking team that surprised me last year. Not going to let them surprise me this year, so they come in at number 3. Number 2 is the St. Louis Battlehawks. They have a new look this year, partnering ways with longtime quarterback AJ McCarron in the offseason, and it's going to be, again, a fresh look. The thing with St. Louis last season was they didn't live up to expectations of making the UFL championship game. They fell short in the XFL conference championship game, and they bring in Max Duggan to try and help that out. They also plan to run a 2 QB system, as it was announced both Duggan and Manny Wilkins will be the starting quarterbacks for week 1. And I am not a personal big fan of a 2 QB system, but it did work with Birmingham last year, and St. Louis is the kind of team that can make this work. Their passing game was great last year, and they bring back a lot of those same key pieces that made it work for this season. They also bring back Jacob Sailors, who is a fantastic running back for this system and does a great job. They also play at one of, if not the best home environments in the UFL. The Dome in America Center is consistently rocking on game day. Although we won't see it in week 1, we're going to see it in week 2. And nonetheless, it is the Battlehawks. Anthony Beck has them playing well, and has been for the past few years. So they come in at number 2. And number 1 is the Birmingham Stallions. They were the champions last year. They have won the past 3 championships, 1 in the UFL, 2 in the USFL, and they're looking to make it 4 in a row. They keep that fantastic running back room from last year that was already really impressive. And they bring back Alex McGough from 2 years ago, who was a USFL MVP and was on the Packers practice squad the past few years. They bring him back in order to replace Adrian Martinez, who left to be on the Jets practice squad last year. And this is a team that is looking to just win again. They bring back their pass catchers, they bring back a really solid defensive unit and add pieces to it. Skip Holtz is a damn good coach. He's one of the main reasons this team has been able to put out consistent performance 3 years in a row and looking to make it a 4th. I really like Birmingham. A lot of people also like Birmingham. There's a reason that they've been such a consistent winner in the spring football leagues. So they come in at number 1. All right, there you have it. Quick little rundown. 8 is Memphis, 7 is Houston, 6 is DC, 5 is Arlington, 4 is Michigan, 3 San Antonio, 2 St. Louis, and number 1, the Birmingham Stallions. Thank you all for tuning in. Subscribe if you're new, like I said in the beginning of this, and I'll see you all next time. Have yourselves a damn good one. Peace.